Yankee fans need to reel it in just a little bit. Just a little bit. I know we all expected more. I know we all want more. And I know we're all hoping that today's going to bring more. But I think the one thing you can't deny here, Teak, is that, first of all, now you can say, well, how much? Marginally better, a little bit more than that, whatever, we'll find out. The Yankees are a better team today than they were, Friday when we last did the show.
Yeah, but the question that people are going to ask is, are they better enough?
Well, that's why I think there's something else that's going to happen. I mean, listen, there's a lot of ways to start, and we will get into early what is next. And something else has to be next, all right? And by the way, we'll do the NCAA tournament. Congrats to Rutgers and Seton Hall and St. Peter's. A little Jersey trio repping the area.
Right.
Nothing else. Everything else shut out. So we'll get into that. We have got Coach Willard joining us later. We've got Coach Peichel tomorrow. I know Recco's heading out there for Dayton. So that'll be cool with the Rutgers. By the way, twice, what is it, first time in, it's the second time in program history Rutgers made the NCAA tournament 2 years in a row. So good for them. But I think that, the first thing that I think needs to be said about the Yankees, we got rid of the negative energy. Like, we got rid of a guy, Yankees got rid of a guy that we really grew to lament.
Yeah, I hear you.
I couldn't stand watching Sanchez play.
I understand that, but
and you know that.
True, but it could be chalked up as an addition by subtraction. But again, I'll go back to what I said just a second ago. Is it enough? Right? Is it enough to compete with the big boys who are spending real money, as we all know, BT? And look, Josh Donaldson's interesting. Like 5 years ago, he was one of my favorite players.
I love Josh Donaldson.
I know, but he was 31, and I'm talking about 5 years ago.
Yes.
It felt like this guy was impactful. He was emotional.
Yeah, he's a red ass. He's an old school ball player.
I loved it.
And the Yankees need some of that. Let's be honest.
True.
Very corporate, very emotionalist too often.
True.
He's going to change that.
36 years old and $50 million left on his 2 years remaining. Is that exciting to
That's
me?
not how I thought we'd spend $50 million. That's what bothers me.
Agreed. I'm not excited by it. I like him as a player. I like that he's going to maybe answer. Actually, he probably creates more questions in the infield than answers some of them, unless now you're just conceding and saying we're going to put Kiner Falefa at shortstop and Donaldson at third, and then you put DJ over at first base, and if we get Olsen or whoever else, then we have then DJ floats. Like it actually creates more questions than answers.
Well, Voigt's still here too.
That's a good point.
So that's why there's no way the Yankees are done.
No,
there's a glut of DHs, and they are just too right-handed again. DJ, Judge, Stanton, Donaldson, Torres is still here. Kiner Falefa that you mentioned, Voit who's still here. All right, so here's what I think. Well, here's what I want to happen. I want Olsen. All right. I think there's a chance that Torres is the lead player in terms of name recognition in a deal for Olsen. I think that's possible. I do. And if you get that, you have a really, really good hitting first baseman who can pick it, who's in his prime. Then you punt DJ over to second. You have a significant upgrade at shortstop. Kiner Falefa could play. He's a really good, and by the way, he runs.
Yeah.
Stole 20 bases a year ago. And Donaldson at third. Okay, there's ways where I could say, and things that I could see that would make the Yankees significantly better. But if this is it, if this is all that they do, then we're going to have to really react differently. I'll measure today because there's no way that they're done.
Yeah. No, I mean, we thought the Kiner Falefa thing happened over the weekend to the Twins, and all of the reports, the Yankees just missed out on an opportunity to get that stopgap. Because, look, he could end up being a really good player, but he's a stopgap, right? They're not spending money at shortstop, the Yankees. They're not going after Carlos Correa, who looks like he's going to go back to Houston now.
I still think Detroit's a possibility. I know they got Baez.
Maybe.
They could punt Baez over to second.
Possibly.
So,
whatever. The Yankees aren't going after him. The Yankees aren't going after Trevor Story, even though that was short-term. The deal probably would have been short-term. So we're now going to get to see one of these young kids in a year or two, which is, I guess, exciting from that standpoint for the Yankees. But at the end of the day, the Yankees want to compete now. At least as fans, we want the Yankees to compete now and not keep pushing things down the line, especially with the Aaron Judge situation hanging still over their head.
But there's a way to effectively do both, and I think that this is the first step toward accomplishing that. Again, they need a lefty masher. I mean, that's just no way around it. You need and I know you got Gallo.
Yeah.
Actually, I left him out before, and maybe he's a little more comfortable. Instead of hitting 110, he hits 230. Maybe, honestly, and he hits 35, 40 bomb. Not inconceivable. Good athlete, good fielder. But I think that from my point of view, I can't tell you. I just couldn't stand watching Sanchez play. I couldn't stand. I felt Teak the moment he dug in the batter's box. 0-2.
Why?
Well, because I'm saying he'd get the moment he stood in the box. I felt like he would wave. He would wave at a slop slider in the dirt, right, coming from a righty. So a slider that's going away or change up, blow it away. Wave at it. 0-1. Or miss a first pitch fastball, foul it back like a beautiful swing, but not square it up. Then the next pitch is probably the soft stuff away, flails at it. Before you look up, so too.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand him loafing around the bases. I couldn't stand his indifference behind the dish. I am thrilled that guy's gone. I mean, I was done on Sanchez. You know this, a year and a half, 2 years ago. I have no tolerance for a lack of effort.
You know what's funny?
And a guy was just a lazy ass.
Yeah.
He showed no effort.
Last year, BT went to a game with Colton. I think 2 days later, I went to a game with Brooklyn and Tegan.
Yeah.
And Tracy, obviously my wife. And we were watching the game. We missed Sanchez's first home run because we got there. It was raining. That's right. So we were staying inside the whatever that little club is down there. So we were inside because it was raining. We ended up going outside, and Sanchez is up to bat. And I was like, oh, he hit a home run earlier. Tracy goes, he's going to hit another one. Watch.
Yeah, he did.
So the game we were at, he hit too. So I hear what you're saying.
He's streaky.
I know. He's very streaky.
When he hits them, they go. But the guy has pockets of 2 for 29s with 11 to 12 whips and whiffs and 3 or 4 grounded into double plays and not getting guys over. He's trash behind the plate. I'm happy he's gone. Now, you could also tell me, and I'm sure we'll get some of these calls and we'll get them early. By the way, nice job by the Mets getting Bassett. I think that's a winning move right there.
Yeah.
We'll certainly incorporate that.
I gotta tell you,
I promise.
And you're hearing Buster Olney say things like they're going after Josh Hader now. So,
yeah, well, I mentioned that a month or so ago. That was up on the radar. No, the Mets are going for it, and they have no surprise, and they need to because DeGrom's not a kid. Scherzer's not a kid.
Nope.
By the way, Marte just showed up again. He looks absolutely yoked.
Yeah.
I mean, he's ready to go. So the Mets are ready to go, and hopefully the Yankees eventually get to a place where they are ready to go. I want to move forward with a little bit of prudence. I know it's easy. Trust me, and I've done this myself with certain things too. I get it. Far from immune to it. It's easy to get on the air and, rant and rave and why didn't we do the – it just started. I will be stunned if the Yankees don't import another lefty, a lefty bat. And I don't think it's going to be Freeman. And I always hoped it would be Olsen.
Yeah.
Now, the consolation could be Rizzo, which I don't love. But, if then Rizzo forces DJ to second, and because you want to trade Torres for a big arm, maybe that's something I could get down with. But the Yankees aren't done. Yankees are far from finished.
You just hope they're not finished.
They're not done. They're not. And if they are, then Cashman failed. And then that'll be a different discussion. And you want to tell me, Sanchez is going to hit 39 home runs. You know what? I'll roll the dice on Gary Sanchez actually fulfilling his potential, which has gotten so old, like the dust on his great seasons has it's piled to the sky. It was time to move on. All right, 877-337-6666. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. We're inside of the Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest prices on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. By the way, sweet lid.
Yeah, man.
See the lids? The Eastchester. Look at this.
Dude, they are sweet. Mike Vecchione, the guy who runs the Eastchester Little League, he put this together. Everybody that walked in the parade yesterday, we had a little St. Patrick's Day parade.
I saw.
How was it?
Oh, it was fantastic. There's about 300 people representing just Eastchester Little League.
And that's great.
It's not even half the league, but everyone got hats,
I don't look
shirts.
good in hats, do I?
You do. Do you look like an actual ball player?
okay.
Like you look at. We got the Irish flag too,
Dude,
Yeah.
everything,
with the
man.
American.
Back,
Oh,
on
the Shamrock.
backside. That's bad.
Represent
That's
this.
badass. This will be my Thursday attire.
This
Part
is
of my
sweet,
Thursday
Lynn.
attire.
Thank you, Hoff. We really appreciate that. Good looking out, brother. All right, so let's get to you. We'll get to the NCAA tournament. I told you that we will have Coach Peichel tomorrow. We've got Kevin Willard today. Who else? We have somebody else
Coach
today.
Hurley.
Danny Hurley from UConn. So we're all over that, and we'll go from there. And by the way, I am happy that Rutgers got in. There was a thought, do they deserve it? I never really thought they would not get in. I thought that they would. I'm happy for the program. I'm happy for Recco. And I would tell you this, and I was talking to Jerry before the show. If you're a Rutgers fan, right, and you're thinking, well, do I make the trip out to Dayton?
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
Do it.
I was out there a couple of years ago with St. John's, and it's got almost like a Butler feel, and you kind of like, the first four, it almost seems anticlimactic. Whatever, maybe. Go win the game, and it's not. It's awesome. So if you think that you want to go from Jersey or the tri-state area, you're a Rutgers grad, a follower of the program, and you have the resources and the time to go, and you're thinking about going, go. It is really, really cool. All right, let's get Matt, who's up in New City, first up on the fan. Matt, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, fellas?
Yep.
Yeah, so I feel different about this trade than you. I really don't like it because Donaldson is too old. He's injury prone. He's right-handed. He strikes out a lot. Doesn't that sound familiar to this Yankee lineup?
A little bit.
Yes, it does.
I mean, listen, I know they didn't trade Carlton Fisk. I'm not shedding a tear about Sanchez.
Yeah.
Urshela was a really nice player. You know, he's not that big of a difference maker, but if they go out and spend money now and get the first baseman, maybe make a move for a pitcher, I could live with it. But I don't know, man. I just don't like it. Donaldson's too much of what this lineup has. It's too much of the same.
Let me challenge you on one aspect here, Matty, and this is very important, dude. And I get it. There's a little repetitive nature to the to the approach at the plate for some of these right-handed hitters on the Yankees. I get that, and they're definitely too righty dominant. But the Yankees have not had a guy like him that this is a smash the water cooler guy. This is a guy who, if you throw up and in, he's going to glare at the starting. He's going to glare at the pitcher. He's going to take somebody out. I know you can't really do that too much anymore at the plate, but he's going to slide hard at second. He's a grinder who happens to be really talented, and they have not had that kind of energy on the Yankees in too long.
The challenge, though, is he's 36 years old.
I understand that.
And you don't know. You don't know what you're going to get.
Well, listen, you play 4 times a week. That's why if you get the first baseman that they need to get, you can punt DJ over to third base once or twice a week. That's why getting a first baseman's paramount.
What did he have last year? He missed 12 games last season with a hamstring. Mm-hmm. And then a calf, 27 games the year before. So, I mean, it's soft tissue stuff. That's what worries you a little bit.
I understand, and you got to make sure, and I can't imagine that this was not – I was talking to Tiki about this before the show. I would be stunned if Cashman didn't, on some level, shoot Garrett Cole the text because we know their history. Mm-hmm. It's not like Garrett's the fifth starter. Garrett Cole's here almost another decade, and he's your horse, and he's over $300 million. So they had history. I mean, absolute. Donald said things about him where he questioned his talent, basically said he's cheating. Yeah. So if Cashman didn't at least shoot him a cursory text, hey, listen, and tell Donaldson, reach out to Garrett or vice versa. Actually, the onus would be on Donaldson, I think, because of what he said. And I remember watching that game. I thought for sure that Cole was going to buzz him up and in. I was kind of hoping he would.
Didn't they squash that, though? I felt like
he struck him out a few times that game. I know that.
I felt like they did that last year. They squashed it a little bit, or at least maybe even Donaldson walked it back. Maybe he didn't get a response from Garrett Cole, but I feel like Donaldson walked that back.
But those initial words were still pretty biting.
Yeah, it's true.
So again, I say that because I think that some people are worried about that. I think a couple of professionals find a way to find common ground. You go from there. Al's in Kearney, and Al is on the fan with Tiki and Tierney. What's up, Al?
Hey guys, love the show.
Thanks,
big
bud.
fan. Actually, when I saw that the trade came down yesterday, I was kind of like on the fence about it. But like after reading all the stuff and listening to you guys, I kind of like it. I think he brings an attitude. I think he brings something different that the Yankees haven't had in a long time, and hopefully that translates in someone like Glaber and some of the other guys. Hopefully they get that fire underneath them and it brings some wins to the team.
Yeah, I mean, look, one of the things that we talked about a lot is who's the emotional leader in the locker room, right? It was CC for a long time. It was who else was it? Who else would do this?
As an emotional leader?
like an emotional. There wasn't a ton of them.
I think Voit has some presence there, but I mean, I'm just the point is, there's not many.
Really. There's not really, and so
Gardner a little bit. He certainly had a lot of respect, and you know, it is what it is.
So we put it on Aaron Judge, but that's just not Aaron Judge's personality.
Not his personality.
And as great as he can be, if he's healthy, it's just not his personality. So getting a guy like Donaldson who lifts that locker room or clubhouse presence is important for teams that want to be winners. And so that's not what you need only from him, but you need at least a little bit of that from him.
You definitely do, and you'll definitely get that. And by the way, there's a chance that he's rerouted. I mean, I don't rule anything out here where, you know, can you trade him somewhere and eat, you know, $25 million to make him more palatable to somebody else that doesn't have the money? Possible.
Yep.
You know, he can go to an NL team and just DH. I mean, that opens up. Look at Nelson Cruz, a National League team now. So the Yankees are far from done. I'm not saying that Freeman's coming to. I don't think that that's going to happen, actually. But I also think that it's unfair for now. For now. And it's also very lazy to reach for the low-hanging fruit. And that has been, you know, well, the Yankees have regressed the last couple of years, and Stevie Cohen's doing this in Queens, and Cashman's in the bargain basement bin again. I think that that's the wrong approach, because I think, again, that's lazy, because they are literally better today than they were yesterday before they made this trade. Sanchez was an albatross who was regressing. We were never going to pay him, so good riddance. And shortstop, and every metric backs this up, got significantly better. Yeah, you know, with the trade. So I have no issue with it.
Agreed.
I really don't.
And I was right. Donaldson did. He clarified his comments on Cole June 9th, 2021. So this is years ago. He says, I was not bringing Garrett Cole's name to the forefront because I'm putting him as the leader of all of this. He just saw that a bunch of guys were getting involved in this. Trevor Bauer had to answer questions to this. You just look at the spin rate drops with him and other guys, and you think, you see what's going to happen going forward. And then he also says, I'm not in his brain bidding whether or not he's going to go with his head, Cole.
That was before the game in Minnesota.
Before the game, yeah. So he kind of knew what to expect.
And he struck out a couple times. Yeah. Cole got him. 877-337-6666. So what are your thoughts on the Yanks? We'll weave in the Chris Bassett move for the Mets, which just seems like a winning move for a team that is, you know, not messing around, trying to win a World Series. You need that depth. They now have it. The other two pitchers, you slot them down in the 4-5 spot, which is better matchups for them against inferior starting pitchers as you get, you know, into series. And, you know, the Mets 1-2 is as good as anything I've seen in a long time if they're both right. And with Bassett coming, who's an energy guy and a really good pitcher, I mean, Mets are doing the right thing as well. So, you know, we're up to our next now in baseball, which is great. We didn't even touch on Tom Brady, which we will. The NCAA tournament. Tiki Tierney, we're pretty stacked here on The Fan.